All right, before we jump into this episode of Verts, I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Just an idea I want to throw out there, a question at you guys. Would you guys tune in to a potential live stream for Thursday Night Football or Monday Night Football at some point this season? No harm either way. Yes or no, let me know in the comments, because if we get enough yeses, maybe at some point this season we'll do a live show during one of the primetime games. All right, let's get into today's episode. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, the saga continues in Pittsburgh. And at least for this week, it appears that Fields is likely going to start again. Mike Tomlin saying, quote, "We're preparing as if Justin is going to be our quarterback," close quote, talking about the matchup with Denver this week. And I've got a lot of thoughts, and we're going to get to a lot of those here on today's show. Let's just kind of get to the news part of it first, and then I got a theory I'm going to get into. The latest on Russ, though, is Tomlin said he's feeling better, but later said he's not available to us right now. He's hurt, and he's been dealing with this calf issue off and on really since the start of training camp. A couple nights before camp started, he reportedly strained it while doing some kind of workout, pushing a sled, came back late in camp, played a little bit in the preseason, and was named the starter, and then 3 days before the opener, apparently hurt it again. And anytime you hear calf, you think Achilles. Kevin Durant, calf strain, tries to play through it, pops the Achilles. We've seen it before from professional athletes. Christian McCaffrey's got an issue right now going on with San Francisco. So it's pretty much a no-brainer for a 35-year-old quarterback who's dealing with some calf tightness. You don't play that guy until he's 100%. Especially considering he's kind of a shell of himself anyway, and you have a young player in Justin Fields who, look, say what you want about the guy, he's clearly got flaws, and we'll outline that, but he at least gives you an option to go be competitive and generate some big plays as a runner, which we saw a little bit this past week. So I would expect Fields to remain the starter for now. The question is, does he remain the starter once Russ is fully healthy? Because I've got an interesting theory on that I'm going to get into here in just a little bit. But first, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to us here at Verts. We're dropping NFL and college football videos every single day here on the channel, sometimes multiple videos per day. Go check out our NFL Week 1 rapid reaction video that we put out earlier on Tuesday. Broke down all 32 teams, all 16 games in less than 10 minutes. We're going to do that every single week. So rock and roll with us. Let's get to 3,000 subs. We're at like 2,400 and change right now. I do think Russell Wilson is injured. I'm not, before I get into my theory, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're faking an injury. What I will say is I think deep down, Mike Tomlin would rather play Justin Fields than Russell Wilson. Now, he couldn't justify naming Justin Fields the starter out of training camp in the preseason because he just didn't show enough. He kind of did what he did in Chicago. He flashed at times in the preseason games, but he was very inconsistent. And so he named the veteran Russell Wilson the starter. I kind of expected that to be the case. My thought all along was Russ would start the year. If he starts losing games, isn't playing well, they'll make the switch. It's easier to switch from the veteran to the young guy than name Fields the starter and then switch to Russ. It just is. That's just kind of a natural progression there. And Fields clearly has limitations. If you look at his spray chart this week, which is every throw he made, he literally did not attack the middle of the field a single time. Like, it's kind of embarrassing that he can't throw over the middle of the field. He throws a nice deep ball. He could throw on the perimeter, but the middle, in between the hashes, those throws are not there. He does not throw the football there. Now, did a couple times in the preseason. I thought it looked better than when it did in Chicago a little bit, but that's just never been an area of strength. It wasn't coming out of college. That was his biggest flaw, and it's been his biggest flaw in the NFL. And he's clearly a flawed player. At times, his accuracy can waver. He can struggle, but in the opener, he took care of the ball. He was 17 of 23, which is pretty accurate on the throws he did make, and he ran for 57 yards. When he's playing turnover-free and can generate some big plays as a thrower downfield or as a runner, that's going to give the Steelers a chance because they have a very good defense. Now, again, none of this is to say that I think Justin Fields is a high-level starting quarterback. I watched him play every single game of his Chicago career, I think he's a fringe starter. I think he's going to generate excitement. He's going to get you big plays with his legs. He throws a nice deep ball, but he doesn't see the field that well. He's a slow decision maker at times. He takes too many sacks, and he fumbles a lot. But again, if he plays turnover free like he did in week 1, I think he gives you a better chance than Russell Wilson. So I kind of just think that Tomlin would rather play him. He wants to see if he could maybe be the Steelers quarterback beyond this year. And he's always liked Justin Fields. Going back to college, he loved him coming out of Ohio State. They had a relationship at that time. I don't think it's an accident that even though they had signed Russell Wilson to be the starter, that he's wanted to bring in Justin Fields once it became clear that Chicago was going to move on and draft Caleb Williams. I don't know what those conversations are in that building. Obviously, he has to lean on Arthur Smith, his play caller, with these decisions. But I think that deep down, Tomlin wants to play Fields here, and if he keeps winning, it gives him a reason to justify, hey, even when Russ is healthy, we're going to keep trotting out Fields. I think that's what Tomlin wants. Maybe I'm wrong. It's my theory. I can't say that for fact, but I know this. What has Russ proven in recent years that if Fields is at least winning some of these games and taking care of the ball, that you just go back to him once he's healthy? He has no equity with the franchise. You gave him a vet minimum deal, and he's sucked the last 2.5 years. Why would you switch back? Like, let's say Fields makes 2 more starts, splits them, and they're 2-1. Are you going to go back to Russ in week 4? Why would you do that? Keep playing Fields, and yeah, if a couple losses stack in a row, turnovers creep up, sure, make the switch then. But I don't think there's any reason whatsoever to go back to Russ if there isn't a clear and obvious reason to do so. Based on how Justin Fields played in week 1 with, again, limitations as a passer, still don't think it's enough of a reason to make the switch back. Unless you think Russell Wilson can rewind the clock to pre-2021, what evidence do we have to show that? It's like Deshaun Watson. He's better than Deshaun, but when you get 2, 3, 4 years removed from high-level play at this position, it's probably not coming back. Russ isn't athletic like he used to be. He's got this calf thing. Even when he's cleared, he's not going to be able to move that well. Is he going to sit in the pocket at 5'10" and deliver the ball all over the field? I just don't see it. Why not play this out if you're Mike Tomlin? I think that's what he wants to do. I think if he wins this week and they start 2-0, the heat's really going to ramp up of why would we switch back to Russ at this point? It just doesn't make sense. So if you're Justin Fields, this is a great opportunity. You get to a franchise that has a good history, has a competent head coach in Mike Tomlin, and now the door is cracked open to take this job permanently. I really do think that's a real possibility here. So whether or not he does it, that remains to be seen. But I'm very eager to see because it's, I'm just not high on what Russell Wilson could bring to the table at this point. I'm really, really not. So I'm curious what you guys think. Who gets more starts this year in Pittsburgh, Fields or Russ? Now remember, another angle of this from Pittsburgh's standpoint is if Fields plays 51% of the snaps or more, that 6th-round pick they traded for him turns into a 4th. But is Mike Tomlin really going to be worried about that? Like, if he thinks Justin gives him a better chance to make the playoffs, that's who he's going to play. So just a side note there. It could be a situation where if they're eliminated late in the year, maybe you would sit them if you could still avoid that pick. But that's something that is noteworthy. But that's something to worry about in December, not in September. You're trying to win right now if you're Mike Tomlin. And is gimpy Russell Wilson, even when he's cleared, a better option? I guess he might be, but I don't see it. And quite frankly, I don't think Tomlin sees it either. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We will continue to pump out content here on Verts. Be sure to rock and roll with us. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys soon.